life in the UK test. Practice test number 7. Why was Magna Carta important? It established a new system of free education. It gave all men the vote. It gave women legal rights. It limited the power of the monarch. Correct answer: it limited the power of the monarch. Explanation: there were few formal limits to the king's power until 1215. In that year, King John was forced by his noblemen to agree to a number of demands. The result was a Charter of Rights called the Magna Carta, which means the Great Charter. Which two of the following were major welfare changes introduced from 1945 to 1950? A social security system for all. Employment exchanges. National Health Services, NHS. State retirement pension. Correct answer: National Health Services, NHS, a social security system for all. Explanation: in 1948, Aneurin Nye Bevan, the Minister for Health, led the establishment of the National Health Service, NHS, which guaranteed a minimum standard of healthcare for all, free at the point of use. Henry VII established the House of Tudor. What color rose became the Tudor emblem? Pink, red, red and white, white. Correct answer: red and white. Explanation: Henry was the first king of the House of Tudor. The symbol of the House of Tudor was a red rose with a white rose inside it as a sign that the houses of York and Lancaster were now allies. How old was Edward VI when he died? 15, 18, 35, 56. Correct answer: 15. Explanation: Henry VIII was succeeded by his son Edward VI, who was strongly Protestant. During his reign, the Book of Common Prayer was written to be used in the Church of England. A version of this book is still used in some churches today. Edward died at the age of 15 after ruling for just over 6 years, and his half-sister Mary became queen. Which two events happened to the Church in England following the restoration of Charles II? The Church of England was restored as the official church. The Church of England was suppressed. The Puritans and Roman Catholics were kept out of power. The Puritans grew in strength and number. Correct answer: the Church of England was restored as the official church. The Puritans and Roman Catholics were kept out of power. Explanation: Charles II made it clear that he had no wish to go on his travels again. He understood that he could not always do as he wished but would sometimes need to reach agreement with Parliament. Generally, Parliament supported his policies. The Church of England again became the established official church. Both Roman Catholics and Puritans were kept out of power. Who was William Shakespeare? A Scottish patriot, a naval commander, a poet, actor and playwright, an English parliamentarian. Correct answer: a poet, actor and playwright. Explanation: Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. He was a playwright and actor and wrote many poems and plays. During which king's reign in 1665 was there a major outbreak of plague in London? Charles I, Charles II, James I and Charles I were very skilled at negotiating with Parliament. James II. Correct answer: Charles II. Explanation: during Charles II's reign, in 1665, there was a major outbreak of plague in London. Which two of the following are British inventions? Golf cart, helicopter, hovercraft, jet engine. Correct answer: jet engine. Hovercraft. Explanation: the jet engine was developed in Britain in the 1930s by Sir Frank Whittle, 1907–96, a British Royal Air Force engineer officer, Sir Christopher Cockerell, 1910–99, a British inventor, invented the hovercraft in the 1950s. When William of Orange came to the throne with his wife Mary, this later became known as the Glorious Revolution. Why? It led to the Reformation and the formation of the Protestant Church. It signaled the start of the 100 Years' War. There was no fighting in England. William of Orange defeated a much larger army. Correct answer, there was no fighting in England. Explanation: in 1688, important Protestants in England asked William to invade England and proclaim himself king. When William reached England, there was no resistance. Which British novelist created the fictional detective Sherlock Holmes? Evelyn Waugh, Graham Greene, Robert Louis Stevenson, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Correct answer: Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Explanation: Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, 1859 to 1930, was a Scottish doctor and writer. He was best known for his stories about Sherlock Holmes, who was one of the first fictional detectives. What type of church is the Church of Scotland? Methodist, Presbyterian, Quaker, Roman Catholic. Correct answer: Presbyterian. Explanation: in Scotland, the national church is the Church of Scotland, which is a Presbyterian church. Is the statement below true or false? The Archbishop of Canterbury opens the parliamentary session each year. False. True. Correct answer: false. Explanation: the monarch is the head of the Church of England. The spiritual leader of the Church of England is the Archbishop of Canterbury. The monarch has the right to select the Archbishop and other senior church officials, but usually the choice is made by the Prime Minister and a committee appointed by the Church. Which of these statements is correct? Women in Britain make up about a quarter of the workforce. Women in Britain make up about half of the workforce. Correct answer: women in Britain make up about half of the workforce. Explanation: women in Britain today make up about half of the workforce. Is the statement below true or false? UK population growth has been faster in recent years. False. True. Correct answer: true. Explanation: population growth has been faster in more recent years. Is the statement below true or false? You have to be 16 or over to buy a drink in a public house, pub, or nightclub. False. True. Correct answer: false. Explanation: to buy alcohol in a pub or nightclub you must be 18 or over. But people under that age may be allowed in some pubs with an adult. When they're 16, people can drink wine or beer with a meal in a hotel or restaurant, including eating areas in pubs, as long as they are with someone over 18. Is it acceptable in the UK to treat people worse because of their sexual orientation? No, it is never acceptable to treat people worse for their sexual orientation. Yes, if their sexual orientation is forbidden by religion. Correct answer: no, it is never acceptable to treat people worse for their sexual orientation. Explanation: although Britain is one of the world's most diverse societies, there is a set of shared values and responsibilities that everyone can agree with. These values and responsibilities include to treat everyone equally, regardless of sex, race, religion, age, disability, class or sexual orientation. Someone wishing to stand as a candidate for election as an MP would need to be how old? 16, 18, 21. There is no minimum age limit. Correct answer: 18. Explanation: anyone aged 18 or over can stand for election as an MP, but they are unlikely to win unless they have been nominated to represent one of the major political parties. The Chancellor of the Exchequer is responsible for which area of government policy? Economy, education, health, immigration. Correct answer: economy. Explanation: the Prime Minister appoints about 20 senior MPs to become ministers in charge of departments. These include Chancellor of the Exchequer, responsible for the economy; Home Secretary, responsible for crime, policing and immigration; Foreign Secretary, responsible for managing relationships with foreign countries; other ministers called Secretaries of State, responsible for subjects such as education, health and defense. Which of the following will help you get along with your neighbors? having an untidy garden, making lots of noise, especially late at night, only introducing yourself to them after a year, only putting rubbish and recycling out on collection days. Correct answer. Only putting rubbish and recycling out on collection days. Explanation. You can help prevent any problems and conflicts with your neighbors by respecting their privacy and limiting how much noise you make. Also try to keep your garden tidy, and only put your refuse bags and bins on the street or in communal areas if they are due to be collected. Which of these statements is correct? After the age of 70, drivers must renew their license every 5 years. After the age of 70, drivers must renew their license every 3 years. Correct answer. After the age of 70, drivers must renew their license every 3 years. Explanation. Drivers can use their driving license until they are 70 years old. After that, the license is valid for 3 years at a time. Which of these statements is correct? An example of a criminal offense is being in debt. An example of a criminal offense is carrying a weapon. Correct answer. An example of a criminal offense is carrying a weapon. Explanation. Examples of criminal laws are carrying a weapon. It is a criminal offense to carry a weapon of any kind, even if it is for self-defense. This includes a gun, a knife, or anything that is made or adapted to cause injury. Which Jubilee did Queen Elizabeth II celebrate in 2012? Diamond Jubilee, Golden Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee, Silver Jubilee. Correct answer, Diamond Jubilee. Explanation. The Queen has reigned since her father's death in 1952. And in 2012 she celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, 60 years as Queen. The right for every adult male and female to vote is usually known as what? Universal balloting, universal democracy, universal suffrage, universal voting rights. Correct answer, universal suffrage. Explanation. Politicians realized that the increased number of voters meant that they needed to persuade people to vote for them if they were to be sure of being elected to Parliament. The political parties began to create organizations to reach out to ordinary voters. Universal suffrage, the right of every adult, male or female, to vote, followed in the next century. Is the statement below true or false? Breaking a forced marriage protection order can result in a prison sentence. False. True. Correct answer, true. Explanation. A potential victim, or someone acting for them, can apply for an order. Anyone found to have breached an order can be jailed for up to 2 years for contempt of court.